it is quite possible. If you can hear the sound of my voice, it means that you are still currently here.
Yes.
And because you're still currently here, then you can turn around whatever situation or circumstance that you're in. I promise you.
Awesome.
So
no matter how much debt you have.
No matter. I mean, when you said 800,000, I'll say, I see your 800, and I had 300,000. I feel like I was born into the Budgetnista. I'm one of 5 girls, and my parents are both immigrants from Nigeria, and my dad especially was really focused on teaching his girls about money.
Okay.
He was an accountant. He has his bachelor's in economics, his master's in finance, and we had money lessons at home.
Wow.
Yeah, so every Thursday we would have like a family meeting, usually about chores and homework, but also the family's financial state.
Wow.
You know, and honestly, when you're a kid, you think like whatever happens in your home is like that's what happens everywhere. It wasn't until probably middle school, and I'm like, you don't have money class? Because my dad let us know this is normal. Everyone does this. And I'm like, so you don't do Thursday night money sessions. Got it. Okay. But it was great because, I mean, at the time I didn't think it was great, but it really taught us the basics and not to be afraid of money because we talked about it so openly.
Okay.
Like he would leave the light bill on the dining room table, which was central in our house, our dining room, and he would say, if the light bill goes down, we can put money into our traveling fund and we can go to Disney. Because one of the things that he understood is that kids don't care about your bills. I don't care if your kid is 30 or 3.
True.
They don't care about your bills. What they do care about is what's important to them. And so if you can link your bills to what's important to them, then they will care about that outcome. Like money for money's sake is usually not motivation enough.
Yeah.
You know, matching it to a thing, vacation, less work, more time with family. If you can match it to something that's important, then it's easier to stick to the money goal. $2,000 a week for 2 years. I don't even know. I didn't even really ask what it was going to be invested in. I was like, that sounds like a lot of money. I'm in. So because I thought I'm about to be rich, I had these credit cards that still, because I had such great credit.
Yeah.
I had these credit cards that I never thought about using credit cards before, but I'm like, since I'm going to be rich, let me start using them. I ran up another $15,000 on the
Oh
credit
my
card.
God. So you've got $30,000 in debt and
Yes.
it's probably at like 18-20%
I can only
interest?
imagine. Yes.
Holy
So
smokes.
now I've got $50,000 in student loan debt, $220,000 a mortgage, $30,000 credit card debt, literally the year before, debt free. And I was just happy as a clam, because you know, like you're just a little fool, like I'm about to be rich. And then a week or two in, after tricking up all my money on my credit cards, you know, reaching out to him like, when can I expect my first payment? He was the worst kind of thief. I like just a clean thief, just steal my money and go. He instead would be like, you didn't get the deposit? I sent it. Call your bank. So took me through.
So now he's gaslighting you.
I didn't have the word for it then. And I'd be like, bank, you know, did you get the money? And they're like, no. So he did that for a few months. And maybe he was trying to like get away because he then moved. So maybe he was hoping, you know, that I wouldn't call the police until he could move away. Then he just stopped answering. And I remember I was devastated, like, wait, what do I do now? And so I was like, that's all right. Tiffany, you're a really good saver, a really good budgeter. And so you're just going to, you know, babysit, tutor in your job, and you're just going to pay this debt down.
You're going to chip away at it, and you're not going to tell anybody.
Yes, and then the recession hit, and people were losing their jobs. And I said, ooh, not me, because I'm a teacher. And then they called us and said, actually, you too. 3 days before the new school year was set to begin.
Oh, man.
I was like, I don't understand, because teachers don't, I mean, you need teachers.
Yeah.
But it was a nonprofit-based school.
Oh.
And so they lost their funding because the corporations that gave us funding, it was the recession for them too.
Right.
So I'm like, yeah, but school's supposed to start in 3 days, and then in the summer you don't get paid. So I was waiting on that first check to start this new plan.
Oh my God.
And I remember being like, what do I do now? Of this money list, which one are your health and safety bills? Meaning the bills that you have to pay to maintain your health and your safety. And I was like, Verizon, it ain't you. Mortgage is a bill. Rent, car note, your credit card, student loans. So if you don't pay, you're likely to be sued. Think about that.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. Like when you were like standing at Walmart or Sephora and you're like, yeah, I'd like 10% off this. And then you're like, oh, wait, that's a credit card.
Yes.
That's a bill.
Mm-hmm.
Got
so
it. Okay.
A B next to all your bills.
Okay.
And then, and those are really like fixed expenses. So that way you understand, right? And then I want you to put a U in front of any B that fluctuates based upon your usage.
Oh, I love that.
Mm-hmm. So I call these like the U stands for usage or utility.
So your student loan does not have a U.
Mm-mm.
Your mortgage or rent does not have a U. But the
water.
Water.
Electricity. So
Oh,
your
yeah,
usage.
Yes, the data on your phone bill.
Yes. And so it's important to separate those two because you'll see that I want you to understand the level of control you have on these expenses. And whatever is not a B or UB, everything else is a C. C stands for cash or choice, meaning that you have full choice of how you spend here. So grooming might be left over, groceries might be left over.
How much eating out with friends?
Yes. And so entertainment.
Yep.
And so now, before you get to slashing, I want you to ask yourself, where's most of your money going? For many people, most of their money might be going to the B's and UBs. But for some people, it's actually all the C's.
Yes.
So then we have to identify, do you have a don't make enough issue or spend too much issue? And so if most of your money is going to the B's and UBs, you might not make enough. So it's not about slashing because these are your bills. You know, but if most of your money is going to your C's, your choices and your cash expenses, then you probably have a spend too much issue. So now we need to slash.
Yes.
You know, because it's entertainment and grocery and all those things where your money is going. Because what I find is that frugal people want to get more frugal when things are tight. I'm like, that's not the answer.
Right.
You know, that instead, I want you to put your energy toward learning how to earn more if all of your money's going to your bills. Because we're cutting the mortgage. What are we cutting? Remember the other two savings, I want you to put those savings account not at your regular brick and mortar bank because they're going to pay you 0.00000.
Okay, so where do we put our savings? And why do we need two savings accounts?
Well, because I want you to separate so you can see.
Okay.
You know, and so this is like that kind of like what I said, automate. You don't have to be as disciplined.
Right.
So savings one at a high yield savings account. Typically these are online only banks, you know. They pay right now currently maybe 4%, a little bit more. Everything's automated. The money lands, it splits before you get it. Bills pay themselves, savings is saved. And when I go swiping, it's not my savings, it's not my emergency savings, it's not my bill money. So I can rest assured without having to be so disciplined because I just set it up one time. And so it's just one of my favorite ways to budget without budgeting, like the hardcore, you know, my journal and a diary, and I'm not doing all that.
Yes.
You know, so this is not shame. This is just like I'm working toward this. This is what your
Yes.
ideal is. So
Okay.
70%. So that would be what's in your spending account and what's in your bills account. That would equate for 70% because that's living off of money.